Alright, I've tested this out. I think I've finally found what I need to do to actually use this and get it set up properly. So we'll see how it goes for this video. Hopefully the audio is better than the last video. I spent probably 4 or 5 different takes of videos trying to get this right. I figured I'd do it driving because I just have more time to do while I'm driving and I'm in between clients. So this will be me chatting mostly about that second week of coming back from my hamstring injury. So, and again, I say injury quite lightly because it wasn't really a massive injury. It was just something quite small, but it was enough to make me miss a game, enough to make me kind of pay attention to what I know that I need to do again moving forward for the rest of the season to keep myself as fit as possible and to keep myself as sharp as possible too. So basically I went over the first week of my other episode, and my other episode, it kind of just contained what I did when I wasn't training with the team. Today is just going to kind of talk more about what I did with the team last week, the game itself on the Friday, my gym session, and then maybe a little bit of what I'm going to be doing this week. So basically the Monday, so last Monday was when we had our first training session with the team from the game that I missed out on. So I joined on that, trained 100% in terms of participation, not in terms of effort, because there's always a degree of being conservative that I would take into, and I would advise most people to take into when coming back from injury, at least for the first little while, just so you know, and you can slowly bring up the confidence, because going from not being injured to trying to train at 100% of intensity and effort is more often than not just a recipe for, not disaster, but just a recipe to kind of slow you down a little bit more than you would like to. So I always say take your time, and really if it's an extra session that you have to wait or an extra week that you have to wait, that's not a big deal. So that's one of the biggest tidbits of advice I can give a lot of people, is take your time when you're recovering from injury, because you don't really need to rush yourself back unless maybe you're in a professional setting, you got super important games coming up, different story, but this is very much semi-pro, amateur, that type of stuff. So Monday training with the team, that was quite short. There wasn't really much in terms of distance covered. I probably covered about 4-ish Ks, which wasn't really too much. I didn't wear my GPS for the Monday, Wednesday. I wore it for Wednesday, I just forgot to turn it on because, again, I'm an idiot. Monday I just wore my watch, gave me about 4 kilometres. Not much for a training session, but that's okay. It was all very closed off, so we didn't really get we didn't get any bigger than a third of a pitch for our cage game. And then before the cage game was just some really small-sided stuff, so you're not really going to get yourself out quite far in terms of opening up, especially when it comes to a hamstring injury. When it comes to a hamstring injury, one of the things you're going to want to do is hit your max velocity as soon as possible, obviously within the constraints of how you're feeling. So you can actually have that confidence to go forward and know that when you're running again, you're going to feel good, because obviously hamstring injuries are they're just a big break on your running. So your running ability will take a bit of a backseat for a little bit while you kind of rehab yourself and get yourself back up to speed, which is why it was good that our first session was quite closed off. So I was happy with that. Got through the session, no issues. Definitely felt a bit more tired than usual in the legs after doing a session like that versus doing another session. So my hammies, both legs in general were a bit more tired. Not really too much of an issue. Expected when I'm coming into first session back in a little bit. So that was fine there. Take us to the Wednesday session. Wednesday was much more opened up. So Wednesday was the day that I was kind of thinking, okay, I should probably try to hit max velocity. That would be smart. That would be ideal. So we did shadow play on, I think it was full pitch. Then we did so shadow play, it was something else I don't quite remember, and then we just went into a full scale game. So we went to the full scale game, which was great. I was like, cool, get a full scale game 2 days before the actual game, which is great. So I was able to work as usual with that game and with that session. So I wasn't pulling anything back. I was being conservative enough, but I was still willing to open up when I had opportunities to open up. Again, this is just me kind of feeling it out, so that when I come to that Friday, I had the best possible chance of playing and being as sharp as I could. So again, we're probably sitting in terms of effort 8 out of 10, sometimes a bit more, sometimes a little bit less. You can, if you know your position quite well, you can generally, you know what you have to do in certain times, and you know when you can maybe exert yourself to go on some more runs, or hold back a little bit to give yourself some more time. So again, another degree of being conservative, just so they make sure they had the best possible chance on the Friday. Now, some people like to rehab differently. Some people would prefer to have that confidence of knowing they could go all out before they hit a game. For me, I already knew that I'd be recovered enough, and I'd be prepared enough to actually play that game and not have any issues. So that was good. So I just had to wait till the Friday for the game. I wanted to hit the max velocity. I didn't hit max velocity on that Wednesday session. So because I didn't hit max velocity, I was like, okay, cool, I have no idea what I'm working with for the Friday, but I knew that the Friday before I hit 27.8, so I knew that it'd be more than that, because a week gone by, training relatively hard, I would be able to run a bit faster. But over the next couple of weeks, I'll be making sure I do have a session where I do properly hit max velocity. We have a bye next week, so I'll get a really good speed session in then, which will help a lot, kind of recalibrate things, I guess you could say. So that will be helpful. But for now, it's just about the game that I'd played, the game that we're going to play this week, then the bye, and then kind of setting myself up for a bit of hopefully hitting some momentum, hitting some form after that. So because it is a long season, and team sport is about that. It's not about peaking for a particular game. It's about having that form and that momentum going forward, so that you feel. So once you build that momentum and you build that form, you hold on to that for as long as you can. You don't let things get in the way. A missed game is going to maybe sometimes drop off your form. Definitely going to drop off your momentum. A bye, a suspension, all that type of stuff. So that's just something you want to be aware of. And I knew that coming into this game that we just played on Friday, I wouldn't be at 100% in terms of having that momentum, having that form. So that was okay. And in regards to the game, we won 3-1. It was a good game for us. We were relatively solid enough at the back to not really feel too threatened, which was good. And then we scored two. It was 2-1 for a little while. Then we kind of scored a 3-1 to just kind of finish it off, which was great. So we were happy with that. In terms of how I felt pretty good. In terms of GPS stats, actually didn't feel really good to it. I probably felt about 6 or 7 out of 10, if I'm being very honest. In terms of fitness, I always feel like if I miss a game, I always lose a touch, and especially when it's a hammy and you have to get back into that repeat effort running, repeat effort acceleration, couple extra max velocity runs with a little less rest, you are going to be more fatigued. I definitely felt that. I felt more cramps coming on than usual. And I'm not really one to cramp too often unless, some people say cramps are very much a nutrition problem, but I often see cramps as a preparation problem in terms of how fit are you in that given moment, and how fit are you in general. So a lot of people that cramp up, it's a lot of the time it can be a fitness aspect as well as a sodium and nutrition stuff side of things as well. Pardon me. So got through it though, played the 90, hit about 10-11 Ks. I say that because 8.6 is what I clocked on the GPS, but I didn't turn the GPS on until 18 minutes in. So I lost 18 minutes of tracking things top speed, hit 27.6 from memory. Again, it wasn't really a game with opportunities to open up. I didn't really give myself many gut-wrenching runs going forward, just in terms of how the game was being played. There was a couple maybe on the way back, but nothing crazy. The players that I were playing on weren't quick. They weren't dangerous in that aspect. They were probably better in different aspects. So then that was that, which was good. And so that was a week of training and game. So that got myself back up to full speed. One of the biggest pieces of advice I can give people when coming back from training and games is to make sure that you coming back from injury, is to make sure that you can at least complete 2 sessions of team sport, of your team training, without having to pull out or without having to modify anything. That'll generally tell you that you're in a good spot to play the game again. So it's not as good of a decision, to just, okay, I'm feeling good, let me just go straight into playing. It's a lot different. It's a lot different kind of intensity compared to just training. So something to keep in mind, and the patience will always win. The reason why my turnaround was quick is because the injury was quite small. So once you've got no pain, then it's just about reintegrating that conditioning, getting that volume back up. And once you've gotten that volume back up, it's okay, let's get that intensity back up again. And then let's get kind of match ready for the game that you're about to play. If you can hit reasonable amount of volume compared to your weekly schedule, reasonable amount of intensity compared to your schedule, you shouldn't be too bad. In terms of load, the week that I wasn't training with the team, I hit about 12 Ks of total load, whereas last week with the game and with the team training, I hit about 22. So in terms of load management, that wasn't really an ideal spike that you'd like to see. You generally want to see a 10% spike over the weeks, just in terms of injury reduction standpoint, in terms of percentages of how you can reduce injury risk. So your injury risk will increase the higher your load spike is. Again, doesn't mean you're going to get injured. It just means that there's going to be an increased possible chance. So always keep that in mind. In terms of nutrition, in terms of recovery throughout that week, nutrition-wise, I was kind of diligent with protein. If I was coaching someone else, I'd make sure that they're very diligent with protein. I was a lot more diligent in the the week leading up when I wasn't training with the team about getting in enough protein. I was looking for 150 grams. But I wasn't really counting the grams. I was just saying, okay, every meal's got to have protein and then some. So that was important. Sleep-wise, my sleep is always very, very, very average at the moment, obviously with my young man, with my little boy. So, my sleep is never really going to be an aspect that I can improve on because it's out of my control almost. But what I can control is me going to bed as early as possible. So that's what I'm trying to do rather than try to sleep in. So that's something that I've been working on too. And in terms of the gym session that I did, the gym session was some Zercher Bulgarian split squats. That was the first exercise, worked up to 100 for 3. This was on the Tuesday, by the way, so I always do Monday team training, Tuesday gym, Wednesday team training, Thursday maybe upper body, Friday game or Saturday game. It was Zercher Bulgarian split squat, 100 kilos for 3. Just wanted that intensity. Then I did hip thrusts, did 180 for 8. Again, similar weight, same weight as what I did the week before. That was fine, had no issues with that. Pardon me. And then I did leg extension isometric on single leg. Again, just to get that total load through the knee without any of that extra soreness. I don't really like feeling sore or tired through the thighs, through the quads, because change direction sports, when you have that fatigue, you just don't feel good. Leading into training and games, so I kept the isometric because basically you're not really going to get much fatigue. Again, I did Zercher Bulgarians, which are obviously going to cause a fuckload of fatigue, but the volume was stupidly low, so it didn't really do much at all. And usually when you go heavier and heavier on Bulgarians, for a lot of people, generally the arse takes over a lot, so there was a bit more arse soreness than total quad soreness. For myself personally, and for a lot of people mostly, as they start to kind of get better and stronger in the gym, your hips get quite strong. So, and then after that it was Copenhagen's, did one set of 30 seconds, only did one set, just trying to make sure I just drip feed and a little bit more groin stuff throughout the week. And then I did my core, which were my knee raises on an incline bench. Good way to get the hip flexors and the groins working well. So that was good session, nothing crazy. I'll do some different stuff this week just to prepare myself in a bit of a different way, experiment with a couple of things, and then kind of just go about my weeks of trying to just hit up that form and hit that momentum and kind of get into a good routine again. So only thing is that I will have I'm on 4 yellow cards, so there is a possibility that I just get a 5th to miss a game because we have a few games that are not as important coming up. But again, I could also try and go through the whole season. I'm not getting on the yellow card, but it's a risk. I don't want to miss an important game when we're playing top of the table, or because we're joint second at the moment, playing top of the table or playing second. When we reach them, I'd rather miss a game that's going to be a bit more manageable, ideally for the team. So that was pretty much everything I wanted to cover. This is Tuesday now, so I had the weekend off to recover. And so what I did on the weekend was just try to get some good sleep, eat good food, try and relax. That gave me some good time to just chill. Got to Monday's training session last night. I was pretty sore from the game, so I generally, my first session back of the week, I don't really feel too good when I get into training. So I may experiment with some maybe some more active recovery and massage stuff leading into that first session of the week, and just see how that makes my body feel, because I'm always just stiff as fuck. And I don't know, call it just getting older and injury baggage perhaps, but it was not as, never really feels good come that Monday. Wednesday session I usually feel a little bit better. I've got the gym session on the Tuesday. I'll do gym today. I'll do another separate video about that. I'll try and record as much stuff as I can. I've been pretty slack with how much I record. I've been slack with how much I record, because I'm just trying to get in and get it done. But I do want to share with it, because I do believe this stuff can help people who are doing their own training, just based on hearing some other person's point of view and how they manage certain things throughout the week. So last week, again, in terms of kilometres, we hit about 22 kilometres in terms of load for the week, and then this week is probably going to be around the same. Last night's session was 5Ks. Tomorrow's session will probably be a bit more. The Wednesday session is always a bit more, which it actually should be the opposite. Have a higher volume on the first session of the week, and then that match day take 2, which we'll be training on, should be just that lower volume but a bit higher intensity, just to sharpen you up before the game. But again, it's not the end of the world. This isn't a professional standard where we need to be worrying too much about those things, because you'd be surprised at how many people actually just do the general looking after themselves stuff. So, but anyway, that was the week of last week of the team training, playing of the game, gym session, and all that stuff put together. So if you have questions or queries or comments about any of that, do drop comments or DM me on Instagram, because I do reply to everything. And I can definitely help people if they have issues with coming back from a niggle, what should you do, and all that type of stuff. The general consensus is wait until there's no pain, slowly integrate load, and slowly integrate intensity. And once you're getting yourself back up to like a week where you feel like you're at a normal week in terms of training and game load and intensity, then you can really ask yourself that question if you're ready to come back. That's if you do it yourself. I always say to people, try your best to work with someone, because if you work with someone, you'll always see something that you may not, and it's always good to get that other pair of eyes looking at you at what you're doing. So anyway, until next time, next episode or video that I'll do will be about in-season gym structure, how I structure, why I structure, and what I do. How much do I change it up? What things am I experimenting with? What things am I liking for my clients? So that I'll try and record sometime this week. I'll probably drop 2 videos this week, I think. I'm going to try to get one out once a week, ideally on a Monday. But as I said, I had some fuckery with this camera, and the laptop wasn't really recording the audio as well. As you can see in the previous episode, it was just getting sketch for the last 10 minutes or so of it. So anyway, have a good week to everybody. Train hard, train smart, and if you've got any issues, shoot me a message. Alright, peace.